tried to escape.
I went up the bay. The woman in the mirror was Charlotte Corday, the Black Madonna, Carol. Anatomy of a murder. They found the body. A suicide. Richard Marble, James Devine, the Marquis, killed himself in the mirror. I went up the internal staircase. I saw her. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of us all? Each episode is taken from a pilot study. Progenitor cells inserted. The mirror, the chromosome. Democracy film. Demo film. Democracy film. Electrons. Increases circuit. It was her halo. Sight, the phone, the connection was split. That's what it was. There was an inner explosion. It split. There's a connection in the electricity of the... That's it, the halo. That's it. Me, Camelot. That was the code name. Crashed. And that's why. The universe. The galaxy bounced back, it boomeranged. The noise of the plane. Hear it? The noise of the plane, I remember. Yes, that was it. That was it. I looked at the schedule, the roster. She said she cut his throat. His speaker. Plane crashed. Short circuit. Short circuit. I've noted. Do you notice every time that... It's all right, I remember taking a cup of tea. Every time before the short-circuiting, I remember now. You have a look at that. Have a look at that episode again, where on the screen there. Yeah, on the screen. Where, listen to the catharsis, the cathartic. It's like bubbles of his electrons in his voice. They overflow like the dam's broken and they burst out. They overflow. Now look, every time that happens, look at the graph. You can see his heart. Every time he gets passionate, there's an overflow, a conversion, almost like a change of personality, a Jekyll and a minor Hyde. See? Volcanic. It's every time the heart, he gets passionate. That's what it is. He adopts that's what I found, and then there were these other notes. Oh, this is from the newspaper. Crown, prosecution, meltdown. A barrister today warns about the cost of stress on the staff who end up taking sick leave to cope with pressures, and cases were 5 to 6 deep across the whole desk. So that's why they're never done. That's why it's been taking 2.5 years to hear anything, to get anything done at all. That's what it's all in here. It's in here. It's like a message communicated from the dead. It says here, they've now been relocated to the cupboard. Oh, well, it's all over now. I went up the stairs. Twice. Yep, I can look down from the top now, and that's from where I did fly and crash and built and reconstructed myself. I can hear all the noises of the city now that wired me and made me mad. But I can see it from up top, looking down on it, as it were. I remember now, I raced up the stairs. I saw her. Suzanne. My face. His. It crumbled. The wall. To here. The Black Madonna I saw. Her head. There it is. The Mary Suzanne computer. There, as I heard them, hear them now, coming. The film, I saw the film, the pirate machine, downloaded. So I watched in my chair, watched the screen, the crash. Yes, but it was reconstructed. Yes, that was it. The film. The church. You may laugh now, but I remember. I went in. Of course. I remember. That's it, that noise. That screeching. I could hear it, I hear it. Now. Saw her in the water. Yeah. Lady of the Lake. She was rising. There she was, the Black Madonna upright. Yes, like the Gustav Klimt picture. Watched in the auditorium. Heard the words, mine, the coffin was Mary Cameron. That's right, just what happened on this flight. The rake of the Holy Grail. I remember. Suzanne, Mary Louise, the ship symbol, the sperm, inserted in the vampire's grave. Unravelled, unopened. The picture, and then I tried again. The key turned, XYZ opened. The map, the spirit. That's right. It was thee. I wrote these notes in my diary. Yes, of course. The coordinates, so I'd know. The map, the spirit. That was it. The sperm XYZ was discovered. Her oil, the Immaculate Conception, the pirate was born, the baby of Louise, mine. That's right. She, too. The women took the oil, the Y-line, the sperm, smeared it. Aben. The rib cage. Speak up! I heard the word. Adam, that was secret. Yes. His oil was bottled. Bottled it. XYZ James, the Marquis of Divine's Y-line, crossed over with X, hers, the hybrid. Opened the clock. The clock opened. Slow lights burned in the mystical tower. One by one. Infinitesimal. A split second, a moment. Opened. Supersonic, the space-time, the television. Snapped open. And I saw it. Everything. The steeple. Of course, that was it. The steeple, the clock, the funeral pyre was mine, my crematorium. I'd gone up the stairs, the staircase, and seen her. That's right. And turned. The Christ picture. And flying. Flying. That's my new word. Flown and flying. I'd taken off, the Egyptian curse was removed, and pyramid doors open, and Valhalla, the universe. There they were. They all were. My angels. And Louise, and she turned in her bed, and I walked with her across the park, up to the chapel, the vestibule, the church, and the doors opened, and I turned and stop! I went back. And I'm here, telling the story of where she lived, where she had our child, of hers, and removed the curse. The curse. The pirate curse. The DNA. And then he's got a note here, Sarge. Hey, Sarge, bring that over here. He's a plant. Well, didn't you take some care to chop your little fingers up and chop your feet up so that we had different gloves and different hands on when the police came to investigate? No, not I. It's not I. I was on trial. Well, have a look at his notes and we might be able to get out of this dreadful temple, this funnel of confusion that 6 characters in search of an author have plunged us into. To reveal the church window. To reveal the Mona Lisa smashed to pieces. A window pane. The Mona Lisa was smashed to pieces like a window pane in the back of my brain, in the cortex area, where the projector light had come in through the front of my forehead and actually freed her, going over a dark area, as if a flight over a dam. That's what it was, the Lorelei. Plane crashed, first off. We were caught in the middle, stuck between one side and the other, between A and B, between the veneer. That was the operation. It was a psychic operation, an inner flight. And we were caught, smashed in the area and stuck. Had to get out. It's jail, Prometheus, Sebastian, crucified. The whole crew was crucified. Just arrows after arrow, after arrow, after arrow. All because I'd embraced this legal calling and turned my back on a deeper yearning, as you heard before. Created this image in my mind which I looked through as if it was a filter, as if my inner spirit was distorted because it searched like a spotlight through this outer layer that formed an image that had been inserted by me because I'd allowed it to come in, because I didn't have the will to take over and fly my own plane, the cockpit, and do my own destiny instead of all this war outside. Jobs, politics, everybody else's idea of what their life is, but not ours, individuals, mine. And this is the story. This diary was found. It came to light. The image was me. I. The picture. A slide. Contained. That was it. That was it. Signed, The Asylum, Ramirez. 10th of October 2011. Fission. Moon had begun to shine through, and I could make out her outline coming through. It was the resurrection, I called this painting. This painting was called the resurrection. It's a card, a part in the game. You deal the card. You paint the picture, throw it out into the ether. You deal a card. I dealt this card. On the horizon. Her. Blue skies. Her form. That's what I called her. Her. Jonah in the whale. It was this obsession. I became obsessed as a gambler, a risk taker, by this desire to crack this nut, solve this problem, this riddle that had been presented to me by the ether. Why did he say Jonah in the whale was Joan? That was the riddle. Was it psychological transvestitism or whatever they call it these days? Transvestitism? Psychological? Crossing from one pole to another within the mentality? The flight from the masculine logic persona to the feminine psyche? Plato called it finding the perfect match, the other, inside the mind, inside the womb, of the mind, behind it, the universe, the great eternal mind. Was the flight just an inner zoom into a tomb that was unravelled to expand consciousness? Because that's what the game of define and provide seemed to me to be. But then, who knows, to somebody else. Although it was one, it seemed two, an echo at my window. I could see she had black jetted hair, matted with sweat, and she was beautiful. And her eyes, it was her eyes, open as if they flooded like waterfalls, tears. And she was white. She wore a white threadbare dress, but she was black. I saw her in the cell, the Isabel. Mount Isa was what it was called in the cards, the nicknames, to which I was dealt. The card was dealt to me, but To me, in the projection, it seemed as if I was dealt into the arena, the area in which I flew, the area in which I flew. So you see, it was a game, an inner, inverted commas, flight, inverted commas, into the soul, to get past the persona, the mask, conditioned and educated on here, and get into the depth, the deeper regions of who you are. You remember the red shirt? You may not, but if you play the game you'll see it again, because we filmed. You put on this red shirt, give yourself a name, Sir K, if you like. Beginning, the first entrant, the first initiate. Go on the trail, step by step, 39 steps, and see how you go. Swamp on the side, some drown, some are thrown. Excalibur by the maiden, the lady of the lake. I took the flight. I chose aircraft. I chose RAF. I chose flying. Others, army, walk, like Sir Keith, Peter, Michael Cameron, they walked. Others by ship, navy. I chose flight. The metaphor for going along the road within. That's what happened. I saw a glimpse. That was the first thing. I saw a glimpse and I realized she was black and white. Look, I've got to try and just explain what happened here. There are 3 versions. I'm recording my notes here on the flight recorder. I'm the psychologist. After I examined his head. Actually, I'm a dentist. I was a mirror of him. I was his twin. He thought I was his other. Anyway, I was looking in at the tooth, excavating. Called it Mount Isabel on my notes chart. And I looked in. There was a psychic who came to us. This was another explanation. He said that he had dreamt, that he saw within his own head, his own mind, a map of an island, and that's where the plane was. That's where he was, that he'd crashed. We knew that he'd had secret orders, and the secret orders were opened on the plane after the takeoff before he parachuted. He parachuted in over enemy lines, barbed wire, on the beach there, as you have heard, where the judge was crucified. And, well, we can only guess, but then I guess he was captured and imprisoned in this church, this clock tower, St. Peter's in Brighton. He became the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Well, because Our Lady was behind. When the psychologist's medium examined and looked in, as if through an X-ray, the orange picture, he saw, the medium said he saw, heard that noise and saw the decapitation, but behind it in another space-time, another area, had appeared the church, Notre Dame, in 1789 and other eras. They'd all converged and lapped over. Right, all this was taking place in an area in the present, yes, at 7 Dials, where there was an old oak tree, And we were aware that the Druid myths said that time changed within oak trees and there were spirits. But the point was that in a linear line, the plane had crossed the barbed wire, yes, from the base, this side, on the left, on a secret mission, and it disappeared over the radar. The dam it was called. We couldn't find the plane. We got the psychic in, or he just appeared from nowhere, suddenly one day, like a magician, and told us he'd had this dream and that he knew where the plane was, where it had ditched. So we followed what he said and drew the map from coordinates he described, and we sent in a mission, a rescue mission at first, and it disappeared too, from an aircraft, Navy pilots. And then we sent a third mission. Yes, Ada, we called it. Yeah, it's a satellite above. And we searched round and recorded and found it. It's her. We went in. This picture was found. Yes, against this wall. There was a cliff face painted around it, and the wound. We went in, turned the key, the spear, and voila! It opened into another space-time. But then it cut back to the present, and it was as if the dentist was excavating in the tooth, but we traced around and it was minuscule, and we inflated it up and blew it up, and there we had the whole terrain. Lot 1. There it is, it's in green. West Sussex, it traced the line, the Queen's line, down the left side, yeah, of the body, the brain. That's it, there it was, the stem. The cell, the pirate machine was in front of it, and behind it, the cortex, the silver, the mirror. You went through two-way and the other space-time. Into there. He jumped down and parachuted into it. Over this line, as he crossed this line, and manifested it in images in the flight recorder we found and projected up onto a screen as a aircraft shot down. Pilot bailed out. It was a mine. What makes a mine image? A pattern. That's what the patient's book was concerned with. That's with what we were concerned. This morning, this day, I looked at the twin in the dentist's chair, under anaesthetic. Teeth, broken, blood. He manifested them in his mind as hitting them on the guns of the aircraft in the dam busters as Zebra had crashed after it crossed the dam and disappeared in 1942. Obscured as 1944. Yeah, it's cross lines. Cross. Satan. He played the role of Satan and made up for his crimes. The ancient mariner. Getting up and leaving here. Goodbye. Yeah, I was a dentist. It was like excavating. I went in drilling. But what was imaging? What was driving the images? What was making the film? Creating it? I think it was the neutrons, the electrons. Yeah, revolving like a propeller. A Philfot. Reverse swastika. That's what the inner nucleus was that was driving chromosome around behind the pirate machine, behind the veil, behind the blind. It was her. She. Feminine. Codenamed the clitoris. In other episodes previous. The beginning was a scream I'd heard. of the little girl. It's the end of the entries, last entry. Psychologist. Yeah, one name was Ramirez. It was an alias, also known as Richard Hood, attorney at law. Rockets are coming outside, I can see them. It's getting... yeah. People are running, it's silent. World War III has happened without us. It's silent without us hearing, without us knowing it's... yeah, dispossessed. Lack of leaders, no leadership in the West. Weakness, no strength, no Marshal Foch, no Manger. That's the trouble. They've all been killed off. They've died, and we've got just weakness rotting inside like termites. Yeah, have eaten out the inner government, and it's caving in, and all they're doing from outside is pushing it and crossing the channel. It's the last time Goodbye, cruel world. I've had enough of thee. This place is a husbanding house.